Hello everyone and welcome to my channel. And if you're a true General Hospital fan, be sure to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Now let's get started with today's video. General Hospital, GH, spoilers for the week of July 20th to 24th indicate Drew Cain, Cameron Matheson will issue Nina Reeves, Cynthia Watros a warning as Jason Morgan, Steve Burton confronts Britt Westbourne, Kelly Thiebaud, and Jack Brennan, Chris McKenna, drops a bombshell. GH just released its weekly preview, and fans need to brace for some massive drama over the next 5 days. The promo opens with a conversation between Charlotte Cassadine, Bluesy Burke, and Carly Spencer, Laura Wright. They are in Carly's kitchen as Charlotte tells her cousin, "You didn't hear? Jason's back." Carly looks completely caught off guard to learn her BFF has been released by the WSB. Still, as stunning as the information is, she'll also be relieved to know that Jason is back home, safe and sound. As Charlotte drops that piece of information, scenes shift to show Jason walking through the hospital's sliding doors. As he does this, Britt is on the other side, with a shocked, yet ecstatic look on her face. She'll be over the moon that her boyfriend is a free man. However, she may not be getting the romantic reunion she's hoping for. As GH fans know, Jason has returned from his WSB imprisonment, a changed man. Jason's top and only priority is Danny Morgan, Asher and Tonizin, so it doesn't look like he'll be eager to pick up where he and Britt left off, which may leave the good doctor crushed. Britt's been riding a very low wave since her return to Port Charles, so Jason's potential rejection will be another major blow to add to the list. While the General Hospital video for the week of July 20th continues, Anna Devane, Finola Hughes, is shown back at the PCPD in the interrogation room with Brennan. She's talking about Ross Cullum's Andrew Hawks shooting the night on the pier when Jason was hauled away. This is when Anna notes that Cassius Faison, Ryan Pavey, had the most motive to shoot the WSB director. This is when Brennan informs her that the culprit was not Cassius. Thanks to Danny, Brennan knows that Rocco Falconeri, Finn Carr, was the one who shot Cullum, and it sounds like he'll spill the beans to Anna. The GH preview wraps up, and the final scene is between Drew and Nina. The two are at the Quartermain boathouse, and it looks like Nina has wheeled Drew up, right in front of the lake. As she's settling him in, Drew turns to her and says, "What's wrong, Nina?" Bad news. General Hospital spoilers for the week of July 20th hint at some explosive moments, massive confrontations, and secrets revealed, so fans need to tune in to see what happens next in the little town. Port Charles hummed with anticipation as the week of July 20th dawned, promising a whirlwind of confrontations, reunions, and revelations that would test the limits of even the strongest bonds. In a town where danger lurked behind every corner and love often walked hand in hand with betrayal, 3 key storylines dominated the landscape. Drew's ominous warning to Nina, the charged meeting between Jason and Britt, and Brennan's stunning revelation to Anna. The hospital corridors felt particularly charged on Monday. Drew Cain, slowly reclaiming fragments of mobility in secret, had reached a breaking point. His body, once trapped in what appeared to be locked-in syndrome, betrayed subtle signs of recovery that Willow desperately tried to hide. But Drew's mind remained sharp, and his awareness of the manipulations surrounding him grew clearer each day. He found a moment to confront Nina Reeves, pulling her into a tense private exchange that crackled with unspoken accusations. Nina arrived expecting perhaps a plea or update on his condition. Instead, Drew's voice, though strained, carried unmistakable steel. "You think this ends well for you?" he warned, his eyes locking onto hers. He laid out his suspicions, the paralytic, the isolation, Willow's role, and Nina's potential complicity or knowledge. The warning wasn't loud or dramatic. It was quiet, deliberate, and devastating in its precision. Drew painted a picture of impending exposure, of alliances crumbling under the weight of truth. Nina, usually composed and strategic, felt the ground shift beneath her. Her growing connection with Brennan offered some security, but Drew's words cut deep, forcing her to reassess risks. Would she double down on protecting Willow, her daughter, or begin distancing herself from the fallout? The encounter left Nina rattled, her thoughts racing toward damage control and the wild ideas already forming in her mind. Across the hospital, Another reunion unfolded with layers of history and unresolved tension. Jason Morgan had returned to Port Charles with Danny, prioritizing fatherhood after their getaway. Integration back into daily life proved challenging, but one encounter stood out. Jason and Britt Westbourne crossed paths in a moment charged with the ghosts of their complicated past. Britt, fiery and independent as ever, had clashed recently with Tristan Roberts, but seeing Jason stirred deeper emotions. Their meeting began cautiously. Jason's presence commanded the room, his quiet intensity unchanged despite time away. Britt, never one to shy from confrontation, addressed the elephant in the room, their shared history, betrayals, and the strange pull that still existed. "You look like you've been through hell," she remarked, a hint of her trademark sarcasm masking genuine concern. Jason offered a rare half-smile, acknowledging the truth of her words. They spoke of Danny, of changes in Port Charles, of the dangers that always seemed to find them. The conversation flowed from professional hospital matters to personal reflections, revealing vulnerabilities neither had shown in years. Britt's return to town had been marked by clashes and collaborations. Jason's homecoming carried the weight of redemption. Their meeting didn't resolve old wounds, but reopened them in a way that hinted at future collaboration or collision. Carly, upon hearing of it, felt a mix of relief and complicated jealousy, her own secret from Valentine adding to her emotional load. Meanwhile, at the police station and beyond, Jack Brennan delivered a stunning blow to Anna Devane. Anna had resumed her role as commissioner with purpose, proposing Chase's return to detective duties and testing loyalties amid her own covert mission. Brennan, with his enigmatic presence and deepening ties to Nina, held information that could alter Anna's path dramatically. Their encounter was private, intense, and loaded with implications. Brennan's revelation came like a thunderclap. Details about threats, hidden connections, or perhaps a direct link to Anna's dangerous mission stunned her into momentary silence. "This changes everything," Anna murmured, her sharp mind already calculating next moves. Brennan's words carried weight, whether a warning about a larger conspiracy, news involving the black box, or insight into Valentine's activities. His alliance with Nina complicated matters further, as personal and professional lines blurred. Anna, ever the survivor, absorbed the stun and transformed it into resolve. Dante, relieved by her return, watched developments closely, while Chase faced his own tests of loyalty. Brennan's action wasn't mere information sharing. It was a strategic play that left Anna questioning alliances and preparing for escalation. The week's drama extended beyond these central moments. Carly kept her secret from Valentine, balancing her joy at Jason's return with caution. Sunny received encouraging news amid Lulu's bombshell revelations about Rocco. Willow, challenged by Elizabeth, pushed her new angle with Chase, her desperation growing as Drew's warning to Nina rippled outward. Portia and Curtis navigated parenthood, while new arrivals like Serena and Hudson loomed on the horizon. Drew's warning to Nina set off a chain reaction. Nina, explosive in her confrontation with Brennan later, sought ways to neutralize the threat. Her wild ideas involved riskier alliances and bolder moves to protect her daughter and their interests. The black box remained a central mystery, its contents potentially devastating for multiple players. Drew's slow recovery added urgency. If he fully emerged, the power dynamics in the Kane family and beyond would shift irreversibly. Scout's return brought innocent questions that heightened the stakes for Willow. Jason and Britt's meeting resonated through their circles. Britt's work at the hospital intersected with Tristan's, creating professional friction that Jason's presence complicated. Danny's reintegration with his father offered tender moments amid the chaos, strengthening Jason's resolve to prioritize family. Carly's shaken state stemmed partly from these reunions and her hidden knowledge of Brick's investigation into Valentine. The black box at Windmere weighed on Valentine, who stood his ground against pressures from multiple directions. Brennan's stun to Anna propelled her mission forward with new information. Her return to work provided cover, but the deadly stakes demanded precision. Dante tested Chase, ensuring loyalty amid Anna's larger plans. The police force became a chessboard where personal histories influenced professional duties. Anna's dangerous return carried implications for the entire town, potentially intersecting with Sunny's world or the Cassadine machinations. As days progressed, interconnections deepened. Nina's bond with Brennan strengthened through shared secrets and steamy encounters, yet Drew's warning introduced cracks. Jason's presence grounded several characters, offering stability while stirring old flames with Britt. Anna navigated her stun by channeling it into action, her leadership tested as never before. Port Charles families faced reckonings. The Quartermaines dealt with deception's power struggles in the background, Serena's impending arrival promising more fireworks. The Ashfords focused on new life and redemption. Trina balanced personal growth with family duties. Through it all, themes of deception, protection, and consequence wove a rich tapestry. Drew's warning wasn't the end, but a beginning of open warfare in shadows. Jason and Britt's meet rekindled possibilities of alliance or romance. Brennan's stun to Anna altered trajectories, setting the stage for explosive weeks ahead. In Port Charles, previews like these rarely understated the drama. Lives hung in delicate balance, with love, power, and survival at stake. The summer heat amplified every emotion, every betrayal cutting deeper under the relentless sun. Residents braced for impact, knowing that in their town, nothing stayed hidden forever, and every warning, meeting, or stunning revelation carried the potential to reshape destinies. Port Charles was heading into another turbulent week, with secrets, betrayals, and unexpected reunions threatening to change everything. Drew Kane was a man under pressure, and that pressure was beginning to show. Ever since recent events had pushed him into dangerous territory, he had become increasingly determined to stay one step ahead of everyone around him. Unfortunately, that meant confronting Nina Reeves once again. Nina had been trying to navigate the complicated relationships in her life while keeping her family together, but Drew's latest actions were making that nearly impossible. When the two finally came face to face, the tension between them was immediate. Drew wasted no time getting to the point. He warned Nina that she needed to be careful about the choices she was making and the alliances she was forming. He made it clear that there were consequences for crossing him, and his tone left little doubt that he was serious. Nina, however, refused to be intimidated. She had spent too many years being manipulated and deceived by the people around her. Although Drew's warning rattled her, she stood her ground and reminded him that threats rarely ended well in Port Charles. Their heated exchange left Nina deeply concerned. She couldn't shake the feeling that Drew was hiding something bigger, something that could affect not only her but also several people she cared about. As she watched him walk away, she realized that this battle was far from over. Meanwhile, another shocking development was unfolding elsewhere in town. Jason Morgan had spent much of his life dealing with danger and heartbreak. He had lost people he loved and endured more pain than most could imagine. Yet nothing could have prepared him for the possibility of seeing Britt Westbourne again. For Jason, Britt's memory had remained with him long after her apparent death. Their connection had been unexpected but meaningful, and he had often wondered what might have happened if circumstances had been different. When Jason unexpectedly encountered Britt, he was left speechless. For a moment, neither of them said anything. The air seemed to stand still as Jason tried to make sense of what he was seeing. Britt looked different in some ways, yet unmistakably familiar. Britt herself appeared emotional as she looked at Jason. There were countless unspoken words between them, memories of shared moments and painful goodbyes. Jason struggled to understand how this reunion was possible. Questions raced through his mind. Where had Britt been? Why had she stayed away? And, perhaps most importantly, what did her return mean? Britt slowly explained that things were far more complicated than anyone realized. There were circumstances beyond her control, secrets that had forced her to remain hidden. She admitted that coming back had not been an easy decision. Jason listened carefully, though his emotions were difficult to contain. Relief mixed with confusion and lingering pain. Part of him wanted answers, while another part was simply grateful to see her alive. Their conversation quickly became emotional. Britt confessed that she had thought about Jason many times and wondered whether she had made the right choices. She knew that her absence had caused pain, and she regretted the suffering it may have brought. Jason admitted that he had never truly forgotten her. The sincerity in his words touched Britt deeply. For a brief moment, it seemed as if the past and present were colliding, giving them a second chance they never expected. However, Port Charles rarely allows happiness to come without complications. Unknown enemies and hidden agendas were already beginning to close in. Jason and Britt's reunion could have far-reaching consequences, especially if certain individuals discovered the truth. Elsewhere, Anna Devane was facing her own shocking surprise. Anna had devoted her life to uncovering secrets and protecting the people she loved. Her instincts had rarely failed her, but recent developments had left her increasingly uneasy. Jack Brennan had been acting strangely, and Anna could sense that something significant was brewing. When Brennan finally approached her, she expected another difficult conversation. Instead, she was completely stunned by what he revealed. The information Brennan shared had the potential to change everything. Anna's expression shifted from curiosity to disbelief as she absorbed his words. The revelation raised more questions than answers and threatened to alter several relationships in Port Charles. Brennan remained calm as he explained the situation, but even he seemed aware of the enormous impact his disclosure could have. Anna struggled to process the truth. Her years of experience had taught her that nothing in Port Charles was ever simple, yet this development was particularly shocking. She immediately began considering the possible consequences and who might be affected. At the same time, she couldn't ignore the personal implications. If Brennan was telling the truth, then certain assumptions she had held for a long time could be completely wrong. That realization left her deeply unsettled. As Anna attempted to gather her thoughts, she knew one thing for certain. The coming days would be filled with difficult decisions. Back across town, Nina sought support from those closest to her. Drew's warning continued to weigh heavily on her mind. She feared that his actions could lead to even greater conflict and place innocent people in danger. Nina considered whether she should expose what she suspected or remain cautious until she had more information. Unfortunately, keeping secrets in Port Charles is rarely possible for long. Rumors were already beginning to spread, and several residents found themselves drawn into the growing drama. At the same time, Jason and Britt continued their emotional reunion. Their conversation turned toward the future and whether they could rebuild the connection they once shared. Both had changed significantly since they last saw each other. They had experienced loss, regret, and personal struggles. Yet despite everything, the bond between them remained undeniable. Jason knew that allowing himself to hope could be dangerous. His life was filled with constant risks, and anyone close to him often became a target. Britt understood those concerns all too well. Still, neither could deny the feelings resurfacing between them. As they reflected on their past, they also recognized that new obstacles were already emerging. Powerful forces in Port Charles rarely tolerate surprises, and Britt's return was certain to attract attention. Meanwhile, Anna quietly began investigating Brennan's revelation. Her instincts told her that there was still more to the story. She started connecting pieces of information that previously seemed unrelated. The deeper she looked, the more complicated the situation appeared. Anna realized that she might be uncovering a conspiracy much larger than she initially imagined. Brennan's shocking disclosure could be only the beginning. As the week progressed, tensions throughout Port Charles continued to rise. Drew became increasingly determined to protect his interests, even if it meant making enemies. Nina prepared herself for another confrontation, refusing to back down despite the risks. Jason and Britt faced uncertain emotions as they contemplated what their reunion truly meant. And Anna found herself standing on the edge of a mystery that could alter the lives of many people she cared about. By the end of the week, alliances would be tested, secrets would threaten to explode, and unexpected twists would leave Port Charles forever changed. One thing was becoming clear to everyone involved. The past was no longer staying buried. Old feelings were resurfacing, hidden truths were emerging, and dangerous players were making their moves. For Nina, the challenge would be determining whether Drew's warning was merely intimidation or a sign of something much more sinister. For Jason and Britt, The question remained whether fate had genuinely given them another chance or whether their reunion would lead to fresh heartbreak. And for Anna, Brennan's revelation represented the beginning of a new and potentially dangerous chapter. As storm clouds gathered over Port Charles, every resident could sense that dramatic changes were approaching. No one knew exactly what would happen next, but everyone understood that nothing would ever be the same once the truth finally came to light. General Hospital, GH, spoilers for the week of July 20th to 24th indicate Drew Kane, Cameron Matheson will issue Nina Reeves, Cynthia Watros a warning as Jason Morgan, Steve Burton confronts Britt Westbourne, Kelly Thiebaud, and Jack Brennan, Chris McKenna, drops a bombshell. GH just released its weekly preview, and fans need to brace for some massive drama over the next 5 days. The promo opens with a conversation between Charlotte Cassadine, Bluesy Burke, and Carly Spencer, Laura Wright. They are in Carly's kitchen as Charlotte tells her cousin, "You didn't hear? Jason's back." Carly looks completely caught off guard to learn her BFF has been released by the WSB. Still, as stunning as the information is, she'll also be relieved to know that Jason is back home, safe and sound. As Charlotte drops that piece of information, scenes shift to show Jason walking through the hospital's sliding doors. As he does this, Britt is on the other side, with a shocked, yet ecstatic look on her face. She'll be over the moon that her boyfriend is a free man. However, she may not be getting the romantic reunion she's hoping for. As GH fans know, Jason has returned from his WSB imprisonment a changed man. Jason's top and only priority is Danny Morgan, Asher and Tonizin. So, it doesn't look like he'll be eager to pick up where he and Britt left off, which may leave the good doctor crushed. Britt's been riding a very low wave since her return to Port Charles, so Jason's potential rejection will be another major blow to add to the list. While the General Hospital video for the week of July 20th continues, Anna Devane, Finola Hughes, is shown back at the PCPD in the interrogation room with Brennan.